We founded the Partnership for Los Angeles Schools in 2007 for the purpose of providing transformation of K through 12 public school, non-charter education in Los Angeles and hopefully beyond. We started out serving 10 schools, and we are now at 20 schools. But the story really doesn't start with the 10 or 20 schools. In 2004, I was doing a political fundraiser in my home, and Antonio Villaraigosa was one of my guests. I heard that he was thinking of running for mayor again. So I said to him, "What would you want your legacy as mayor of Los Angeles to be?" And he said, "Education, education, education."
I'm asking you to dream with me. Dream with me of a Los Angeles where kids can walk to school in safety and where they receive an education that gives them a genuine opportunity to pursue their own dreams.
The partnership was formed with the idea that we would generate a lot of additional resources for schools that have been historically neglected and under-resourced. A lot of folks come in and do things for schools, but what we do is we work with folks who are already in our schools to unleash the talent that lives there. We invest in principals and their leadership teams. We invest in teachers, we invest in parents, and we bring in partners to wrap supports around the school.
The Partnership for Los Angeles Schools opened up the doors and invited us in. The value of our community organization working with the Partnership for Los Angeles Schools is that we need the inside and the outside approach to solve the needs in our educational system.
The professional development that is offered for not only school leaders, but classroom teachers is next level. This is a really big job. I love it. It's a big job. And so sometimes I have big questions that go with this big job. And it's super comforting because there's almost always a partnership person that I can connect with. The support system is pretty unprecedented, and I don't think that I could do this job without those supports. Partnership has been tremendously impactful in how we staff our school. We have 9 new teachers this year, and I'd say of that 9, 5 of them were teachers that went through the Alder residency program, and they utilize our school setting as a space where these teachers can build their craft. The partnership has connected us with coaches. They did all of the legwork around finding the talent and making sure that we have someone quality here on the staff that can support teachers and improve instruction.
The partnership has done a remarkable job in molding and shaping kids to go on to bigger and better things. You can be an astronaut, you can be a scientist, you can be a lawyer, you can be a teacher, you can be whatever you want to be, and you have the tools to do that.
After receiving the Watkins Fellowship, I found a new love for academics, which is a love that I didn't really have before. I also see education as a pathway to things such as connections, such as being able to find myself, being able to find how I can help others.
Sus pensamientos han cambiado mucho. Él piensa en seguir adelante, estudiando. Estoy agradecida al Partnership por todo el apoyo, la información que me han brindado a mí y a mi familia. Quería más información, cómo apoyar a mis hijos, en cómo yo darles la información a ellos de qué clases recibir, estar como más involucrada, ¿verdad?, en la escuela, en la educación de ellos.
I started taking classes at the Parent College. I learned, for example, the different kinds of tests our children take in schools, how they can be prepared. So that was my study. And then later on, there was a new class that was a leadership class. And I started coming there. And because of all my years that I've been part of different groups the partnership hired me as a parent college instructor. Also, the leadership and advocacy class, parents can learn the tools how they can advocate not only for their children in their local schools, also in LAUSD, in the district, and at the state level.
Advocacy and systemic change is the end game. We do everything we can to make sure that equity is front and center in policy and practice.
And a very good example of that is when the pandemic struck and we went to virtual learning. And some of our kids were going to Taco Bells and sitting in the parking lots at 10 o'clock at night and doing their homework on the phones.
In Watts, there was a housing project that didn't have any coverage. A family that had resources could not buy access to broadband. Ultimately, what we wanted to do is replace hotspots, which is what was being distributed to families, with broadband. And we entered into a contract with Spectrum whereby we became a provider for broadband to our families. And after a lot of collaboration, the district launched a program in that model whereby they made broadband available through their own efforts to over 100,000 families who did not otherwise have access.
The Policy Advisory Board is a team made up of teachers, parents, students, staff, people from the partnership that aims to make a social impact in the communities and in the schools. I didn't realize the power behind my voice until I joined the Policy Advisory Board. I didn't know that my opinion could make a difference or my ideas can make a difference. Thanks to that junior year when I joined the Policy Advisory Board, I realized that technology had gone from being a privilege to have to now a necessity. It's impacted my overall journey in general. My major, which is now computer science and business administration, is all molded by my one goal to one day open my own nonprofit in the tech sector and make a social impact in my community. My future is centered around South Central, and I don't see that ever changing.
One of the things that the partnership can point to, and I can point to, as a source of tremendous pride is what we have been able to accomplish in 15 years.
We have schools that have gone from the bottom 1% to above district and state averages. We have schools that have gone from the bottom 10% to being in the top third of performance in LA Unified. We started with 36% graduation rate and we're almost at 90 now. When I think about the next 10 years of the partnership or the next 15, I think about continuity, continuing to be a champion for equity day in and day out for our students, our families, our educators, and our communities.